Today's sponsor of Bobcast is sodabeats.com, the best and most simple way to make beats online right now. There's no ripping them from YouTube, no stealing other people's beats, getting insanely compressed versions of people's beats that they've used hundreds of thousands of times. You get to make your own beats the most simple way possible. You don't have to have any music production experience, and then you can render them out, download them, and use them for any purpose forever. It's the best way to make beats online. sodabeats.com. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Bobcast today on Bobcast. Now, this is episode 2 of season 3. This is the second episode in 2021. We're out here with Chris Miller. He's a returning guest, famously on the Jack Gallagher and Chris Miller Bobcast.
Yeah, famous cast.
How long ago do you think that was?
Year and a half? 2? Ooh,
2.
3. Probably 2 or 3.
Pushing 3. Dude.
Yeah.
Second podcast of 2021. Feeling very optimistic about this year and like the podcast. Man, I got the new camera coming and everything. Bobcast is coming up. Hopefully we're going to be in a studio in a year or two. And
you definitely will. And you know who's going to design it?
I do know who's going to
this
design
guy.
it. CMC, baby.
Yeah,
that's
CMC.
Like Chris Miller Contracting gang.
Chris Miller Contracting,
you know.
Specialize in design, remodels,
I'll give you a better plug at the end so people can, really know where to contact you. And
of course.
If they live in the Tennessee,
the Nashville area, surrounding areas.
We'll talk about that too. But anyway, so, I figure there's a bunch of different ways we could start, but I feel like, where we were when we did the last podcast with Jack, all 3 of us were kind of in different places, definitely in worse places.
100%.
And so I think it's important, or it would be helpful to kind of just explain where you are in life right now, and then I feel like we're just going to go off of that and
sure,
kind of off in the conversation.
Yeah, well, back then we were in college. I went to Stockton. You went to RV. Were you still in RV then? Yeah. Yeah,
when you were at Stockton, I was at community college. For people who don't know what RV means.
Yeah,
Raven Valley,
the best community college out there.
Oh yeah.
But at Stockton for 2 years. Let's see, we did sustainability science, the major first. Science completely ruined me. So I went to business management, been running my own business since, age 13, 14, selling this, that, everything in between. So, went into business marketing, business management, all that, and felt like I wasn't really getting anything out of it. I've done the whole 9 already, and I was just learning stuff over again, and, felt like I was wasting my time a little bit. Then, one day came, end of sophomore year, where, studying for econ. Who uses econ for anything? Am I right? Completely going to fail that class,
Macro?
Macro. No. Cheated my way through the whole entire thing.
It's college, baby.
Needed a, 75 to pass the final, or pass the class. Needed 75 on the final. Just talking to some kids while we were studying, and I was going home for a side job that weekend, and they're like, what was I doing? I was probably putting in some windows or something, I think, and they're like, you know how to do that? I'm like, yeah, I do that once in a while, know how to do this, that, everything in between. They're like, wow, why are you even here? I'm like, that's a good question. Why am I studying for macro?
Let me zoom in on that moment.
Yeah.
Was that... Did you actually have a realization in that moment or no?
Yeah, because these kids, nothing on them, but they, they didn't really have any blue-collar skills. They had, to learn to make money, and they needed to learn in school, how to do life. So, they said to me oh, you know how to do that? We got into conversation about other things I know how to do, and they're like, dude, why are you here? I'm like, yeah, I've been asking myself that for the past 2 years. And that's when it hit me, because I knew I was going to fail that so hard and get a terrible GPA and have to take that class over again, which I really didn't want to do because I didn't learn anything that whole time. I was posting eBay listings in that class. I'd take pictures when I'd come home, list everything in macro, ship it all when I get home, just going back and forth every weekend and making my money that way. And just figured school was not the way that I was going to do the next 2 years.
Do you think that it takes somebody else to ask you rather than you asking yourself? It's...
Oh, yeah. Well, the realization was definitely that, because I saw what they had to offer to the world, then I saw what I had to offer to the world. And, school's not for everyone, but for some people, you need school to, actually learn and succeed and do this and that, but I did not see school as beneficial for myself. So after hearing them say it, that really hit me. And my parents gave me the option, like, freshman year, obviously I didn't want to be there. So they said, do sophomore year, see how it goes. And the second semester, really getting sick and tired of it, wasn't really doing that much. You know, enjoying my photography class, my Photoshop class, pretty much everything that had to do with art and, you know, expressing myself. But macro, you know, accounting, this and that, you know, what am I going to be, an accountant?
Not you.
Do I look like I'm going to be an accountant?
No.
No. Do I look like I'm
You
going to
never have looked like you was going to be an accountant.
Except my accounting skills are off the chain right now.
Yeah, you're good at it. You just don't fit the role. You don't fit the part. But, you know, that's crazy because I think that there's so many people in that position where I think there's like a mix of things. But, like, some people are in the position where they go, I really shouldn't be here. Like, this really isn't the place where I should be, like, focusing all my energy. Like, I can just provide so much more value in a different place.
Right.
Then there's some people who go like, oh, I am good at this, and I kind of like college. I like these classes, but I also just don't want to be here in general.
Right. And those people, they need to, hate to say it, but suck it up and actually finish, because they can get something out of college. And if they just drop out, what else do they have to offer? They need to do their pros and cons list.
Well, did you do a pros and cons list?
Oh, I was doing a pros and cons list since the middle of the first semester freshman year. I had a list on my phone, a college backup plan. And I remember it was like my 6-week of school. I was like walking through the woods in Stockton, you know, beautiful area to really think about stuff. And I called my mom. I'm like, listen, I want to drop out. I have a whole list of things I could do. I could work for this guy, do this, get into this, you know, make money this way. And she's like, you've been there for 6 weeks. Suck it up for the rest of the semester, maybe finish the year, see how it goes. Freshman year was fine. You know, had a blast, met a lot of nice people. You know, thankful for that. You know, it was a good experience at the end of the day. But, yeah, I was doing pros and cons lists since week 6 of freshman year.
And so, pros and cons list, week 6, you go, okay, I'm developing this backup plan. And then a year and a half later, that kid says, why are you here? Right?
Yeah.
And then
it wasn't my parents asking me. It wasn't me saying that to myself. It was someone who noticed what I had to offer saying, why are you here? You can do this. You can do that. You could help people doing this, help people doing that. I thought to myself, I'm not going to be helping anyone being an accountant. There's a million accountants out there. What am I going to do? Try and be a scavenger looking for a job after college, making $60,000 a year as an accountant? Hopefully making $60,000 a year doing accounting.
There's a lot of accountants, too, so.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't, you know, majoring in accounting, just business management. But at the end of the day, business management is just like sort of like a BS major. Like, you don't know what you're going to do outside of college after that.
That's
like,
my degree. So
what are you going to like? Some people start a franchise. Some people do this, start a business.
Start a podcast business.
So, yeah.
You know.
But yeah, I wasn't.
True. I agree. I'm in 100% agreement that. I mean, I think most majors are BS. I mean, I think most majors, not that they're bullshit majors, it's just that the classes that you do, all the classes that you do, they don't really combine together to form one thing. They're kind of just a bunch of different things.
Well, that's the quality of schools, too.
Yeah,
like, some schools you
true.
have to take, like, a karate class to fulfill your major.
Yeah.
Why are you spending the money to take a karate
even
class?
Stockton, you don't remember At Some Distance?
Yeah.
You mean waste my time?
Yeah.
That's what that is. Because I've already decided in my third year. In your third year of college, you're not trying new classes.
No.
You're
trying to
why
pinpoint.
am I trying new classes? Like, that's what I don't understand. So, you know, this is the real bottom line. Is that they want you to take more classes, so you spend more money. It's a business. It's a business. As much as it is a public, you know, university, if it is a public university, it's still a business. It still has to make money.
Yeah.
It's the president
They
of the
took
university.
their business management class, and they know how to run that business.
Yeah, straight up, man. And, you know, I've had great professors there. You know, but, yeah, and, you know, just to take it back to what you were saying, you know, I think that I think the whole time you were in college, I think you knew that it wasn't the right fit. I don't think there was ever a time where it was like, this is really where I want to be. Like, I think the whole time you were really like, you loved what you were doing surrounding your classes and the people you were hanging out with in the eBay and all those things. but I don't think you felt in 100% in like alignment with this is where.
No, I mean I liked some of the, like I said, my photography class, loved it.
Yeah.
My Photoshop class, loved it. You know, all my business classes,
Practical stuff.
hated them. Yeah, and I use them now. I use Photoshop all the time. I do photography sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I got those skills in my back pocket, but to get a major from that and actually form a career behind that, that's a lot of money to spend for something that you know, don't really need.
Man, that's a great point, though.
But, I mean, if you want to get into, like, marketing or, like, advertisement marketing and you know how to do Photoshop, you know, you need the degree because that's what people look for. Mm-hmm. But for the stuff that I'm doing right now, don't need it.
And what I was going to say is look at the return, like, nobody does this return on investment calculation. So, like, if you get a college degree, you can get a better job, but there's actually more competition than if you didn't have a college degree, because now you're competing with everybody that has a college degree instead of competing with people that don't have a college degree.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have a college degree, you're competing on the basis of your experience and not on your degree. So experience puts you above people, not a degree. When you have a college degree, your degree and your school and your major and your activities and everything surrounding your college experience, now that's what you're competing against. So now it doesn't make getting a job easier. It actually makes it harder.
Yeah, and everyone's learning the same thing.
And everybody's learning the same thing. And what it is if you don't do the return on investment calculation, then you're going to have a bad time. Because what you're going to do is you're going to go 4 years, you're going to have a certain X amount of debt. Then you're going to say, how do I get a higher paying job? That's the only reason you went to college in the first place, so you can get a better higher paying job. Then you go, well, okay, I guess I'll have to get a master's. So let me look. What's it going to take to get a master's? Oh, but if I get a master's...
A few more $1,000s. Well, tens of thousands of dollars.
More than that. Yeah, exactly. But if I get a master's, I can make even more money. You're making more money, but you're making less money because of the amount of debt that you accumulated. So the return on your investment of the college degree, you actually lose money. So you are working towards a job that's a higher paying job where you're paying off all this debt. So you're not making more money.
Well, say in 10 years you could be. You could be paying it off. And then in the 10-year, you know, it's a good investment.
You can have a plan.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't get a master's. I mean, don't get a master's. But hey, if it makes sense, do it.
You want me to get a master's?
No,
should I go back?
You shouldn't get a master's. Get it. Get a college degree. Get a master's. Go to this school. Go to that school. All I'm saying is do the calculation. Determine what are other people. Go on. I'm not going to say anything more about LinkedIn, but go on LinkedIn, find somebody that's doing your job, ask them how much money they make, ask them if it made sense to get the master's. They're going to tell you yes or no, whether it made sense for them. So I'm just
only
saying,
a select few jobs it makes sense.
True, and especially business, it doesn't make sense. They don't even want to hire you if you have a master's. It's actually worse to have a master's.
Really?
Yeah, because they're saying, why didn't you just go work? Why did you go to school more?
Experience is key.
Experience is key. So, that's my rant on... I'm not saying don't do it. Just do the calculation, because people don't do that. You go to college, you go to high school, and then you're going to go to college, and then you don't think about calculations.
Right.
And math and money.
No, you just go by the code.
But so what do you think for like people who are in that position, even people who have a college degree, but they say, I want to go do my own thing, completely different from what I'm doing right now. Like whether they have the resources or not, you had a good amount of resources to start to do what you had to do.
Absolutely.
You had a lot of space, you had time, you had all these things.
I had the prior education too.
True.
Like in high school, I took, the green building course in Polytech, the technical school. And I learned a lot there. I mean, that's the only reason why I got into Stockton, because my teacher in Polytech worked with the sustainability science guy at Stockton. I had the worst grades in high school, and like when you're like applying for colleges, how you're at, like they have like a little, not a spreadsheet, but a little graph where you are compared to the other people that made it into that school from your high school. Bottom left corner, the absolute worst. And I applied to school. I waited 2 months, didn't hear anything. I messaged the professor at Stockton, got a letter in the mail 2 days later.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't supposed to be there unless I knew that guy. And he was like, any student of Charlie's, can be a student of mine. So he got me in there, even though I shouldn't have been in there. And so I had the resources that way. But you just got to see what's practical for you. Because I had the experience, I knew what to do, I did side jobs, all through college when I'd come home on the weekends. I helped my dad rebuild our house since I was 11 years old, And, I've learned a lot, and I knew that I could start somewhere, even making $15 an hour working for someone. You learn from that $15 an hour. You really don't even need any experience. If you want to start working the trades, there is endless amount of work. People think they can't find jobs outside of college. You could work any blue-collar job. Any guy will hire you. There is endless amount of work. When I went to Nashville looking for a job, I had 8 solid jobs 5 days in. Guaranteed jobs when I showed up. Because I've learned the past 3 years how to do everything, like not exactly fine-tuning, but I had general knowledge of everything. Mm-hmm. And I had 8 solid jobs, like set, ready to go. I mean, I only chose 2 of them, but you just got to start learning. If you like something, try it. If you like doing carpentry work, try it. I don't know one guy who won't hire an extra set of hands. Not one.
You used the extra time that you had to do the things that you really wanted to do, right? Like you did the eBay on the side. You did the side jobs on the side.
Well, I did the side jobs while I was supposed to be studying.
But still, while you still went to class for the most part.
No, I did, but yeah. I did. I'd skip. There was 3 classes.
You didn't fail out
3
of
classes
college,
a week.
though.
I wouldn't go to one. The second day of class, I would do eBay, and then the third day was the quiz, which I'd cheat on.
So yeah, even more to my point of you just did everything you actually wanted to do.
Right.
So like I think what happens is, and I guess what I'm kind of getting to is like,
yeah, sorry, I just went on like a rant that sort of wasn't too what you're talking about, but it sort of was.
No, I mean it was. You just went a little further because we're gonna hit the Nashville thing, just not yet. But I think the problem is people have more of a dream and they have less of the do and more of the dream. So they have less of the grind in my every single waking hour that I'm not in school or sleeping on stuff that I really want to do. They have less of that, and they have more of I'm sitting here in class or I'm doing my homework and I want to do big things.
Oh yeah.
And I think that what you kind of have to do is start doing things that get you to where, because you starting Chris Miller Contracting and be a full-time contractor or whatever amount of time that you do that, you started with the small things, like selling you weren't selling like, $10,000-$20,000 trucks in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like you were flipping little things on eBay.
I started off selling my Lego men when I was like 12 years old. I had a bunch of Legos. I saw they were going for a lot of money on eBay. Just put out lots of like 5 Lego characters. They'd sell for like $25. Like I don't know who was buying them, but they were selling. I was making good money. I was going to garage sales, buying Legos, selling the Legos, making good money as a 12-year-old. Then I went to another garage sale and I found a BMX bike. It was a Rockstar Energy Edition BMX bike. Used 3 times. The kid went to jail. The mom sold it to me for $30. I was like, this is a rare bike. Sold it to some kid that I went to middle school with for $150 the next day. Then I'm like, I don't need to work a day in my life if I can go to garage sales, just know what to look for, and know what sells. And why would I work for $15 an hour when I could make $120 for an hour of work at 13?
But do you know? So, what's your advice on that? Do you have to know? Because some people say,
tough.
I know it's tough. Some people say, just know what's your thing. Whatever your thing is, you'll know how much that costs and how much that sells for. Don't start selling, knickknacks if you're selling boats. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You do boats, you do boats. You know what I'm saying? So what's your thoughts on that? You've sold everything, so like a lot of different things. You have your specialties though, like the ink pens, and I can go off into the other little things you have. But what's your advice on selling things on eBay and how to?
You need to put yourself out there. Like you got to go to the auctions and just look at what things are selling for. Observe. Because when I was 13, I didn't know that if I bought, this little metal robot that it would sell for $500 on eBay. I saw that it would sell for $500. So that one day when I was 20 years old, I saw it at a garage sale. I saw the thing for $5. I knew it would sell for $500 on eBay, so I knew to buy it. If I didn't know that from observing, I wouldn't have known. Knowledge is money. So you just got to go out there. You just got to look for, see what things are selling for. You could get a general idea just from looking at, I don't know, those headphones you got there. If you know what they sell for normally and you see a good deal at them at a garage sale, you know that they could probably sell used for, I don't know, $80, $100. Mm-hmm. You just got to have a general knowledge of everything. I don't know. That's how I worked. Yeah. It's definitely a blessing and a curse because I always wanted to focus in on something, but you know how I work, and I can't do that. Absolutely can't do that.
Perfect transition. ADHD. So, you have ADHD, is what you say. That's what you say.
Yeah. So the doctor said it, and the teachers said it, but I'd say I mean, you could probably just listen to me and hear that I, have it, but it's a blessing and a curse. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, but sometimes it's the worst thing. I think it really boosts my creativity, my it does a lot for me, but it also screws me over a bunch too. I don't even know where to start on that. Creativity definitely is huge. Impulse decisions, which are important in life.
What do you mean?
You're focused on something really quickly. I didn't really think too much about this beforehand.
But you're good. I just want to know why impulse decisions are important. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be like some crazy high level thing. I think people have an opinion on impulse decisions, and some impulse decisions have ruined people's lives, and some people's impulse decisions have saved their life. So
I think
just a little topic. What's an impulse decision where you go, oh man, thank God I did that? You got.
Well, I mean, you and all of our other friends call them Miller moves. My impulse decisions that are just there's nothing behind them. Only I would really do them, and they make sense why I would do them. You explain on a Miller move.
Well, a Miller move basically is there's an opportunity. There's some random weird opportunity, some random thing that you come across, right? But the outcome is unknown. You don't know if it's going to benefit you in the long run.
Yes.
But you're taking a chance.
I'm fully okay with it if it doesn't work.
If it doesn't work, and you're fine with those consequences.
Yes.
So that's really a Miller move. Like it's basically impulse. I mean, that's really what it is. Yeah. And I think a lot of what you've done,
I'm just not scared,
is impulse. And no, you're not scared. And that leads me perfectly to you. So this is the setup. I'll set it up, and then you're going to explain it. So you went to Tennessee for 11 days to go visit. What was the purpose of the trip?
Just to visit Anthony.
Visit our friend Anthony. Anthony Emmeram, great artist. Go check him out.
Shout out Anthony.
One of the biggest artists I know personally. The kid's really talented. And so we went to go and visit Anthony, and you ended up in this place called Nashville, Tennessee. And you're meeting,
God's land.
God's land. You're meeting all these people, and you make an impulse decision. You make a Miller move.
Literally a Miller move. Just fell in love with it and dropped everything I possibly could drop and send it to Tennessee. Just from an impulse decision, I saw the opportunity there. The opportunity was definitely there. People are nicer. Weather's nice. Just a lot better than good old New Jersey. And, since the opportunity was there, I saw why not. And since I do my own thing and create my own schedule, just move shop down to Tennessee.
Did the pros outweigh the cons on that?
There were no cons.
There's no cons. Well, if you're being realistic, there's got to be some cons.
I can't think of any.
What if it doesn't work?
Well, I know it's going to.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, there was 8 jobs there lined up in the first few days that I was there. Just because since I do the blue-collared work, I don't need to worry about that compared to if I was doing white-collared stuff and had the education. It's so hard to find a job right now if you're a white-collared person coming straight out of college. There's so many people doing that. So you need to really search for months on end to just look for that job on LinkedIn.
I was gonna make sure this is good.
Yeah. Find that job on LinkedIn, and you got to wait. And then,
I know,
but I created that opportunity for myself almost. I kind of had a feeling that I needed to move somewhere down south, better weather, nice people, this and that. But I didn't know where I was going to go. And right when I went to Nashville, I just saw all the opportunity, saw all the pros. Music's a big thing in my life. I love music more than anything. And there was just live shows. Things are open. It felt normal. Met a few famous musicians, like the guitarist of Steppenwolf. Me and him are boys now. Went to one of his shows. Wants me to come to all of his shows now. Yeah. I met a guy at a bar the other day who, you know, he was just smoking outside. We were just drinking together for a little bit. And one thing led to another, you know, became friends. And he texted me the other night, hey, I'm having a show with a guy from Steve Miller Band. You should come by. I'm like, now I get to meet this guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing, like, that stuff doesn't happen around here. You know, you have to, like, expand, you know, your opportunity. And I knew that, and another thing was just, Anthony's friends are great down there. So I felt at home hanging out with them, and I felt like I've been down there forever. I wouldn't have made the move probably if I didn't know anyone down there. So that's the biggest thing. I had a living opportunity, I had the work opportunity, but just it felt very homey.
Do you think that you went off, like, did you go off any, like, intuition or anything, or was it kind of just, like, all those factors you just, like, that was your those were the pros, right? Like, those were what it made, if you thought about it in your mind and you were like, should I move here or should I not? Like, you didn't have to even go through that thought process.
Well, I was thinking about it. Like, on the plane ride home, I was like, I definitely should move there. Like, it's a great place. And then it snowed right when I came back. After going outside every morning in my underwear, taking a piss outside.
Yep.
And then I come home, and it's snowing. And I'm like, yep, I'm over it. Just over it.
I'm out.
Yeah. Yep.
Damn. That's
yeah,
crazy.
the only con is that it's such a fun place, you get distracted real easily. You know, it's a party every single day there. There's new people every weekend. I mean, you're meeting a lot of good people, which are cool, but you can't go to the bar every day.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have fun every day. You got to stay straight. And that, I think, is going to be my biggest challenge, just because, you know, it's so much fun. It's going to be hard to stay focused.
As much,
I think I'm gonna start new, you know, gonna have more life goals and, you know, good habits, forming good habits. You know, maybe, well, after all my injuries, got to start doing yoga in the morning or like stretching in the morning. Eat a little healthier.
Right there, morning routine. Yes, sir.
Where's we need to have get me over in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. We'll do a little.
Well, all right.
We talked about it. Well, I don't have that much time now.
Yeah.
But
I figured since you were moving, we weren't going to put it in motion. But
it was an idea.
We could do it where you're at and I'm here. Well, I don't care. We could still do it. I mean, I'll
maybe
just
after
do it
the
here
pod.
and you do it there.
After the pod, a little stretching circle or something.
A little stretch session, a little pod stretch. But yeah, man, I just thought that's crazy that you're just like, you've been here for your whole life and then you go somewhere.
I loved it more than anything. I had an idea of building an apartment in my barn so I could live in there for the next few years.
Yeah.
Just work out of my barn, I mean, which I have been doing.
You already have 2 rooms in there, though.
Yeah, I already have 2 rooms, just going to bump them out a little bit. That was like, we were talking about that at dinner the week before I left. And we were so set on it, like it was going to happen. And, you know, I couldn't see myself anywhere else because I had everything I wanted here. I had the hardware store guy throwing me all the jobs that come in the store. I have so many contacts for all the people I've already done jobs for. And, you know, I have a good reputation here. I built myself up nice, I'd say. And, you know, you can't just it was too much of a cushion. Too much of a cushion here. And I wanted to kind of just, like, be in the dirt a little bit. You know, because I had everything I wanted. You know, I have some money saved up. I could have stayed here, bought a house, started flipping houses or something. But I never had that, you know, fend for myself thing. And the fending for yourself, I feel it's going to drive me. And that's what I need to actually form the good habits, get the schedule going, have a nice routine, you know, the whole 9. I mean, you're on that schedule thing a little bit, but I know you have the same opinion of the cushion as I do.
I do. And there's something about adversity, and there's something about, I mean, let's be honest here, like, most of our lives, like, we've really had the cushion, we've had comfortability, we've been able to, you know, somebody else would help us if we needed help, right?
Absolutely.
And
you got 5 people on your cell phone that you could call who could help you out.
Easily, so many couches to sleep on. And when you don't have that, you have a different level of hustle because you need to now, you're providing for yourself.
You just got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out, but then, yeah, you're also trying to make a livelihood and be happy at the same time, which is, there's a lot going on there when you have to do it all yourself. Like, when you have a rent payment and a car payment and an insurance payment and a business and an LLC, and I got to write this off in taxes, and I got to, you know, like, you got clients calling you and telling you got to fix this and fix that and do this and do that. Like, and you're also trying to have some free time, be happy, enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. Doing all of that is fucking hard.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of time, and it's just a different level.
Takes away
man.
your sanity a little bit.
And like when you always have something to fall back on or rely on if something happens.
You don't try as hard.
Yeah, you don't try as hard.
I catch myself
Not
being
at all.
lazy way more times than none. I mean, I have the time now that I could just like accidentally get lost in my phone for an hour. I don't want that anymore. I want to throw my phone out the window. I want to get rid of that thing.
Yep.
Use it strictly for business. But here, I just get lost in the phone so much.
Yep.
And it's killing me. Like, that's a good reason why I'm moving down there too, because I need to have all these things lined up, do all this work, and not focus on losing. Or I'm losing time here, just being on my phone, having that cushion. The cushion is leading me to be okay with being on my phone for an hour.
If you have a cushion, you don't have to do deep work. That's what people call it, deep work.
Deep
that means
work.
when you work for set intervals of time, like you go, I'm going to work for 3 hours right now or 4 hours straight and not take a break and not, just work, right? And when you're doing that, an hour in, you're getting into this zone where you're like, you don't even think about the outside. Like somebody could call you and you'd like snap out of it, but you'd be like, what the heck was that? I was just in this.
Yeah.
So when you are on your own, you have to do deep work. That's what you have to do because there's no room to mess around, especially with you. Like you're not going to have a boss. You're going to be working for people, but it's going to be on you to get the work done in the amount of time you have to get it done by, and then it's on you to be. It's your fault if it doesn't get done. It's nobody else's fault. And then you're relying on them now to bring you more work, so you have to do it right.
Yeah.
And you have to take, so it's different even when you have like a 9 to 5. Like when you have a 9 to 5, at least somebody's paying your bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least somebody's giving you money for the time that you're putting in. Yeah. Whereas if you don't do that, you have so many other things you have to do. Like because now an employee is basically a business owner, but they just don't make the sale. They just do the work, and there's another person above them who makes the sale, who does the accounting, who does
the responsibilities.
All they have to do is the work. Yeah. And then they get paid.
Dirty work.
Yep. With entrepreneurship or business or whatever it is, even as an artist or however you want to look at it, you're the salesman, the marketer, the accountant, the this, the that, the CEO, CIO, CXO, all the other...
The whole nine.
All the other acronyms. You have to be all of these people. So, like, on top of doing the work. So, man, I think that... Sure, you're putting yourself in a great position as far as your life goes and as far as your opportunities go.
I think the best version of myself will come out.
I think
when I make that move.
But at the same time, dude, like, it's gonna be hard. Like, I think it's gonna be hard.
Yeah,
and I think
it's gonna be a real slap in the face.
It's gonna be a slap in the face. But I think it's good that you're forcing yourself to do it because
I'm realizing the problem now instead of when I'm say 5 years from now. Be real pissed off at myself if I didn't find that out until then. But it'll bring me more opportunities in the future, just meeting people down there, doing the work, getting down and dirty, and actually, figuring out how to successfully run the business and how to make the most money from it.
I think you'll be fine. I just think that there's going to be some moments when you're like, oh, man, I've never been at this point before where, like...
It'll be 12, 13, 14-hour days some days.
Yeah, and you don't have the connections to go, like... go call, hey, yo, we got to do this right now so we can flip this truck or whatever. Like, nah, man, you got to build up those connections now.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot. The thought of it is way different than the application. So
yeah, it's a nice thought, but you actually, when you're in it, it'll force you to actually execute.
Being your friend, like, I know how you are, like, and I know what you're, but like, to be honest with you, like, your work, like hours and stuff like that, like is pretty just much like whatever you feel like doing. Yeah. And I don't think that's a bad thing. You're not going to be able to do that. So,
I know.
Yeah. So,
I know. Some days making a nice sale, working 3 hours, 2 hours of the day, then just going golfing the rest of the day. Can't do that.
Yes, you're going to feel the need to keep working even once you make $1,200 commission on something. Yeah. Like, you're going to work for the rest of the day rather than going, I just made $1,200. I'm chilling.
Well, it depends on the day,
True. But I just think that there's going to be a little more pressure on you to actually be like, oh, shit, like, I used to be able to just enjoy this. Like, now I have to just keep going and going and going. Yeah. And I think it's going to put things in perspective in that way.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think
I'm speaking from somebody not doing this. So, like,
right. No, you're making sense.
Going through all of the different ways it's going to go, being hyper realistic, but like...
Well, I plan on, like, working, like, the people that I'd be working for, interior designers, you have to do this, and this. I plan on working for piecework. So once that job's complete, then you pay me X amount for the thing that was completed. Doesn't matter how many hours it took. this and that.
It's not T&M. It's flat rate.
One flat rate. You install that chandelier, you get paid $75, say. So I plan on doing that compared to an hourly wage because it'll push me to make the extra hourly wage or dollars per hour more than what I would have been charging normally. And then I have a couple people in mind right now that I plan on hiring out. So they do this, I make the $20 on them doing the work. And then, I could still do the other work and keep on getting jobs done and done and done. So then these people I'm working for, they find more jobs for me, and then the snowball effect. It's all downhill from there. Well, not downhill. Uphill snowball.
Man, that's I hope that's how it goes, man. I think it is gonna be how it goes, just because I know, like, the one thing, you do what you want, Miller, but you are adaptable. So I think that the fact that you've gone from these different things, from college to starting your own business to doing this, doing that, like, we know people who did leave college, but it's not like they went out and were doing, like, they got their job, they just went out and started doing it. Like, you would have, like, even once you stopped college, like, you were making flips, you were actually going out and working and getting jobs on your own, jobs that you had never really done before. Knew how to do
that
them.
Didn't happen right off the bat.
No.
Right off the bat after college, I worked for a guy who was a complete jerk, and he did not, it was so terrible. I worked for him for like a year and a few months. I mean, terrible guy to work for, but I learned so much work. Like, say a good example is, like, we used to do garage doors, openers, and, actually hanging them and everything. The first time we did a garage door, he gave me the box, took the instructions, and told me to figure it out. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I've never done this before. He's like, you're not allowed to use YouTube. I'm going to go get materials. When I come back, this thing better be up. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, this is brutal. But he forced me to learn everything. And, like, I was able to actually, I did cheat on that one. I did go on YouTube just to see how to program the thing because, you need instructions for that. But I was able to complete it, and he taught me how to do a lot of fine-tuning for things I've never done before. And then after I really got fed up with this guy, then I left and then just started doing my own thing, and I was comfortable to go out and say, yes, I'm able to do this job. I'll take it on. Gave him a good price, and just go from there. Yeah. So you do. I did sort of already eat shit theoretically. With that guy to get where I'm at now. I mean, I'm not saying I'm some master carpenter right now. I'm definitely not. But I'm able to complete a lot more things.
You know what you can do and what you can't do.
Yeah, I'll never take on a job that I know that I can't do because that's just embarrassing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I'm able to do a lot more now because I worked for this guy who did everything for a year and a half. So, going back to what we were saying earlier, like, any advice that I could give to someone who wants to start doing, their own thing, or like, say, blue-collar work in this case, you have to work for someone who knows what they're doing and really have a good teacher. Because if you don't have a good teacher, you don't know how to do things right, then you're starting bad habits early. I've talked to a lot of guys, like, I know a few master builders who, when they started out, they say never put a stud in crooked, never use caulk, like, do things to the best of your ability and form good habits, because then once you do the jobs in the future, you'll learn how to do them without cutting corners or doing this and that, and that's where you'll succeed, after learning the fine-tuning things and doing things to the best of your ability.
I had the same experience because I worked for this marketing company, right? And while I was in college, though, but still, same thing. I mean, I was working like 30 hours a week or 40 or whatever. And the company was, it was really like, it was based on taking people's money, doing an okay job, and like getting by. And then just people being like, hey, what happened? And then we're like, well, this is the contract. So like, that's what I was, but not to say I learned so much. I wouldn't be able to run this business without working that job.
Yeah.
Because I learned all these intricacies of running a digital business. Like, how do you task manage? How do you calendar? How do you build a website? How do you do this and this and this? And the founder didn't have the right mindset or vision. The company, like I said, we were kind of like, I'm not saying we were into taking people's money, but like we would just prioritize other clients over other clients and just be like, oh, we'll just like throw them, we'll just give them what they want, and then we'll just go on and just, we have the money, so it doesn't matter. Like all that stuff where like I learned, boom, like first work for people with the same values as you, because then you'll never really have a disagreement. You won't even need a contract. You'll shake hands and that'll be it. And that, and also just, but yeah, it was a shit job, man. And I learned how to handle a terrible boss and how to not be a terrible boss. But I've watched myself use the same habits as that guy used. But even though that he used on me,
you'd catch yourself.
Yeah. I've caught myself being like, whatever that specific example is. And I knew in my brain, I was like, because I started
you can't let yourself look like or you can't let other people see that you do that kind of stuff when you want to be at a different level.
Yes, and you can't speak it and then not do it. You gotta set the example, man, and the tone. And like what I realized, and I just kind of realized like indirectly all of the things that weren't done to make it an organization that was gonna thrive and succeed. And I thought that making money meant you were doing good. Like, but I realized it's really not about money, because that company made it, I guess, enough money. I mean, they took out loans and stuff, so they really didn't make, as much money as they had to run the organization that they had.
Right.
But at the same time, they had huge contracts. They had $30,000-$60,000 contracts. Like that was happening. But the company was so ass backwards. So that made me realize too, like, oh, just because you're making money, just because you're getting work doesn't mean shit, because you could just ruin this thing. Yeah. And run it into the ground, and just because you have a contract, they'll give you your money.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, man. But same thing with me, man. I worked for that shit job, and I learned so much shit, and then I, had to backtrack and go, all right, what bad habits am I doing now? Like,
expose yourself to a lot of different variables.
True, and self-awareness, man. And the things that I'm just always pushing, always pushing on every single interview is like to try new things, man. Because number one thing that you can do is try new things. And like I've always
try new things and talk to different people.
That's it. Yeah.
See what everyone does. See if you could work with certain people.
Grow the network. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah.
It's who you know. Always, it's who you know.
Shout out to Who You Know show.
That enough. Huh?
Shout out to Who You Know show on one of my clients.
There you go.
One of the OGs. Shout
Who
out to
you know is the way to go.
It's man, that's great.
They should trademark that.
I
can't let that. I can't let
they
them
always
take that
ask
from
their
me.
guests, is it more about what you know or who you know? And
it's who you know.
You know what? Grant Cardone said.
What?
He said it's about who knows you.
Oh.
And I said, yes, sir. I said both. Yeah, obviously, what you know is gonna give you the skills to do the job. Who you know is gonna give you the opportunity to sell the job.
Yeah.
Who knows you is gonna give them the opportunity to use you to do the job.
Bang, I like
bro.
that.
Look at that.
I like that.
That's what I'm saying, man. All that there's a lot of principles. That's why I called it podcast principles, because I'm about principles, man.
Yep.
Because a lot of things boil down very simply, but it's hard. It's very easy to complicate things. It's hard to boil things down to simple terms. And for me, I always have an impulse to try to like explain it in some crazy intricate way.
Yeah.
When really it's very simple.
Yeah. Right.
Like put simply, you dropped out of college, you got a job working for somebody who sucked. That it sucked in a great way, where you learned a bunch about what to do and what not to do, and then you had the skills to go off on your own.
Right. I was like probably I'd say half the month I'd work by myself, and then the other half I'd work for a guy. Met a guy named Jeff. Great guy, would work for him all the time. The nicest guy I've ever met. So it was very awesome working for him. He's been doing carpentry for 30 years. Kind of got me from, like, I was up here with people, and then he got me back down here. I was, like, good working with people again. He was paying me what I wanted. And I was thankful for that, and just worked with him, learned a lot from him. And then, after that, I was working with him, like, he'd call me, for a 2-day job once a month, and then the rest of the month I was just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And it was great. Just, you got to learn from people who have done it first, and then try it out on your own.
Slogan of this podcast: learn from those who did it.
Learn from the experience.
True. And that's why I ask people about moments too, because a lot of times it's the moments that kind of change everything. Like a lot of times it's not like the 5-year thing that changed it all. Like it's usually sometimes it's just one little moment where you go, I could like edit somebody's podcast and make money.
Yeah.
I could do I can do a porch. I can make a back porch.
Yeah.
Might as well. I think I could do that and make some money.
Yeah.
One moment.
Yep.
man.
Yep.
But yeah, man, that's we covered a lot, man. But like listen, we don't have to go too far into this, but you brought a great book with you.
We did.
And
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
That
just started reading it today.
book is called Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a book that I've done the audio with, and then I did an audiobook, and then I've read it too. And it's just and now it's timeless. I mean, like I still go and I'll just pull up on YouTube one of the chapters and like just listen to it because I like Kiyosaki. But anyway, so this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, if you don't know what it's about or you're not into the kind of entrepreneurial, it's not that business oriented. It's pretty life oriented, but
yeah.
Anybody could really take value from it, I think. But what the premise of it is that there's a kid. He's grown up. He has a friend. Okay, his
9-year-old.
His friend's dad is he owns a business, right?
He owns like 15 businesses.
But this kid, the 9-year-old, his dad is a professor, I think, or a teacher.
Yeah, he's a teacher.
Right? He's a teacher. So the teacher, that's his poor dad. That's his actual dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then his friend's dad is his rich dad.
Right.
And so it's about the balance of like learning from what excuses his dad makes about money, and then what excuses
plays both sides,
and then what he learns about his friend's dad and how he got so rich and how he started all these businesses and was so successful. So, but even in like, listen, we don't have to like pull out quotes from it, but like, what kind of even though you've read a short amount of
read 30 pages this morning.
30, yeah, well,
but
that's
there's
solid.
some great stuff in those 30 pages.
Yeah, like, is there anything that like stood out to you that has to do with that book, or do you?
The one thing was, the rich dad was telling him about how you could either play by life's rules or you could grab life by the balls and really take advantage of it and do your absolute best. And you can't let it boss you around. You can't go into the everyday 9 to 5 that everyone does, because you'll be that poor dad if you do that. If you grab it by the balls, theoretically, and play by your own rules, just figure out how it works. You start with that terrible job. Like in this case, the rich dad hired, the 9-year-old kid to work for 10 cents an hour just dusting off cans in his little shop. The 9-year-old was fed up, and he was like, I gotta like either get paid more or I'm quitting. And then the dad says, like, you gotta start off somewhere. You need to learn, the rough work in the beginning. You gotta eat shit, and then after that, you can figure out, you could have a game plan after that. And
now you have skills.
Yeah. I mean, I think I stopped at that page, actually. Yeah. So after that, I still have to read. But, you really have to, see what's in front of you. Pretty much just read what other people, or not read what other people are doing. But, he's talking to this rich dad now compared to the poor dad. And he's seeing how the rich dad does it. And now he's like kind of noticing. He's noticing, oh, this is how I become rich. This is how he started. This is how it all works.
Yeah, and it's important that it's like, and what you were saying a little bit beforehand, one of the other quotes is like, you're going off that quote, it's like, life is either for you or it's either coming for you or it's coming at you or it's pushing you. It's like, I feel like people think life is happening to them, but it's really happening for them. So it's not, like, you can either learn or you can be angry, right? Is kind of what it's saying.
Yeah.
You can be mad at the world for the world doing what it's doing, or you could learn from what the world is doing. So, like, there's options. That's the thing that's what I think, too, is I feel like there's options. It depends how you interpret what's happening.
Right.
Some things, everything looks like it's fucking you. Like, every single way you look at it, it's like, this is just fucking me over.
Yeah.
But you'll live a lot better life, I feel like, if you can find at least one thing where you're gonna get better from it,
Yeah.
And like, that's really what it is, man. And like, the thing is, too, like, back to Rich Dad Poor Dad, like, yeah, some people understand it and some people don't. Some people are gonna.
Well, another thing was, people are scared to actually
Fear is huge.
Go out of that, like, that zone where they're being pushed by life, because it's it's scary. They don't know if they're gonna make it. Do this and that. But there's a lot in there that you already know that you just gotta break through a little bit, have a little Miller move, get out of there.
Yeah, yeah, really though, really, and. That's it, man. What you said. Fear is like fear is a motherfucker, man. Fear holds all of us back. I mean, and what I always refer to the book by Stephen Pressfield, it's called The War of Art. And
I read like half of that too.
Amazing book.
I was going to read that this morning instead of that.
Probably top 3 books. And what he calls it is resistance, right? There's always resistance pulling you, and it wants to take you down. Shout out to the devil. It's the devil. Shout out to Trevor on Who You Know Show, too. He always mentioned this of, like, he's like the evil, I forget what he calls it, but he's like the evil wants to get you. It wants to take you down. Yeah. Like, the resistance wants to let you know, like,
it's in control.
Dude, you ain't shit. Like, you're not meant for this. This is not what you're supposed to do. You're in the wrong path, whatever. And it's always there. Right?
Yeah.
So you can either believe it or you can find a way to deal with it and make it productive. You know, so like bad things are going to happen, right? Things that you can't control are going to happen. But I think it's really the reaction that, you know, how are you going to react to it? How are you going to grow from it?
Right.
You know, but you could grow from a lot of things. But if you're scared, you're fucked because you're going to let that fear take over, and it's the resistance.
And then the fear is only going to get worse, and you're not going to be able to get into like your happy place almost. Like I wouldn't trade what I've done for the world.
Yeah.
I mean, going to college, yes. I mean, definitely wasted a couple of years.
No, you didn't, because you wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? You don't know until after. You wouldn't be right here. Yeah.
Right. Very true.
You would have never gone to Nashville. You never done the thing. Yeah.
True. But the things that I've done so far, like my schedule that I'm able to make for myself, and you know, have all the diversity in jobs and everything, and I've had a blast. I've had a great time. That 9 to 5 is a killer, and I never want to work it once in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I work like 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night sometimes, but you know, that's on my own terms, and I'm happy doing it, and I'm not being bossed around by a guy at the end of the day, and I hopped out of that comfort zone, and I would not trade it for the world.
Would you ever go back to it? If the opportunity was perfect.
Depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Depends on what it is.
But it does depend on what it is, though. You're not saying no.
No, more than not 95% of the time I'd say no.
Yeah, but if you had to, you would.
If I could get into set design, in show business and this and that, which I kind of will be doing in Tennessee, which is awesome. But if I could do that, I would do that. I would be fine with that. It's not even a 9 to 5 there. You do 12-hour days based on the sets pretty much, but that's something I would love to do.
Yeah.
So that's the 5% chance that I would say yes, but everything else, I mean, there's no shot. Because I've taught myself how to make money in a lot of different ways, and I'm very grateful for that, because like say COVID, you know, everything went downhill. I never stopped working during COVID.
Yeah.
I was an essential worker, theoretically. I mean, you know, I was working. I mean, you went to the house that I was at.
Yeah, we were
at the house
together
for 6 months by myself. No one was in the house. Was able to do everything I needed to do, and that's that.
That's the one thing that you definitely do have, is that you learned how to make money from on
so many
untraditional
different
ways. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, shit, that's a Mac Miller quote. I got so many ways I can make money. I'm just letting you know that I'll always be straight.
Yeah,
that was a quote from I forget what song it's called, but yeah, man, like that's one of those things. Like, that's a fucking skill to learn how to make money in different ways, and then learn new ways. Not to be like, these are my ways. Like, learn new ways. Like, people that are in such a 9 to 5 mindset.
They don't recognize the opportunity.
And I'm not fucking Gary Vee here, okay? Like, I'm not the guy who's saying fuck no, it's dude, you gotta follow your passion and your dreams. Like, I am realistic. I'm Sully B. I'm not Gary Vee. I'm realistic though. But I'm saying work a 9 to 5. Have an entrepreneurial mindset. Like, understand that money, if you allow money into your life, it will come into your life. Like, what I did was I wrote like Think and Grow Rich. I'm not sure if you've read that one yet, but
I don't read books.
Yeah. Audiobook, trust me.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Think and Grow Rich. You write a letter to money. You say, "Dear money, I will accept this amount of money into my life. This is how much money I'm going to have on this day. I will do everything in my power to achieve this money, and I will not deceive anybody or get in anybody else's way to achieve this money. Like, it will only be through these ways." And that's what you do. You put out. Now, this is going into the woo-woo manifestation shit, which I don't know is true. I think some of it is true, but some of it, it's a gray area. I'll say that.
It's placebo.
Placebo, yeah, sure. Yeah. But, you know, placebo, it works. That's the thing.
You got me
There's
there.
nocebo and there's placebo, right? So
nocebo.
Yeah, nocebo effect and the placebo effect. So placebo works. It's weird that it works, but it does work in certain applications. meaning that you can take a sugar pill and the symptoms of whatever you have can go away. Like there's many studies on placebos. I mean, I won't go into it further, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but
no, I forgot too. What were you saying?
Oh, there's a lot of ways.
There's ways to make money.
There's a lot of ways you can make money, and
which I think is important for everyone to learn some extra ways to make money because that's why you have to.
Especially in COVID, man. That was the perfect thing.
Dude, I was getting so many people on selling stuff on eBay because like they weren't doing anything else.
I sold my computer I had on eBay for 2 years, and it sold during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like you need to know different ways because once you lose your job or something, you got to make money somehow.
I will attest. I will provide that example of I'm not a flipper. Okay, I will flip cars and stuff like that. I've made good money doing that, but I don't do with eBay. I saw on a Facebook page that there was a Mac computer, and I saw how much it was. It was for $85. I went to the guy's house. I talked to him for 20 minutes. I bought it for $85. I went home. I let it sit. A month later, I listed it on eBay for $280. A year goes by, no hits, right? 300 views, no hits. I'd lower the price, $260. No hits. Another 6 months goes by. COVID hit. Another 6 months goes by. $250. I get 7 messages in 1 week. I used the money that I made from that to buy my website for my business. So I don't even do eBay. I literally went on Facebook, saw this thing for sale. I went on eBay, looked at what it sold for, figured when the time comes, somebody's going to buy it. I'm going to make money. So like people would see that computer and say, I'm not looking for a computer.
Yeah.
And keep going. The mindset's different, man. And like, I'm not even a big mindset guy. I think mindset's a little bullshit, but like, it's not end all be all. People trying to sell you courses on mindset, they go fuck themselves. But I think the mindset is different if one person will look at that computer and not blink an eye, and the other person will look and say, this is going to be $150 in 1 year.
Yeah. Or one day.
In 1 day. But
one year. Oh yeah, 1 year as in
1 year ago.
I mean, that doesn't happen all the time where it takes that long. A thing that with flipping that I go off of is if they manufactured it and it's not like out of date, you can't completely not use it anymore. Mm-hmm. If they made it, someone will want it.
Yeah.
And no matter what it is, I've had things sit on eBay for years, and then just a random day, like say right now, a PayPal notification could come up, and just the eBay underneath, you've sold, blah blah blah. Just if you have the storage and you know it's worth money, it's better than in it like a stock. Mm-hmm. If you can make $200 on something, just keep it in your garage for a year or two. Mm-hmm. You're gonna make $200 on a $15 stock? Probably not.
Yeah, no.
So that's the way that I look at it. My dad's like, you should just invest in stocks and do this and that. I'm like, no, I'm going to, sell my stuff, take that money, buy more stuff.
Do you know what people tell you to do? People tell you to do what work for them. Because that's why your dad said that. Like, he understands that stocks work. You not doing stocks doesn't make stocks not work. Stocks would still work.
I just got into stocks.
Exactly.
Pretty nice.
Long term, I'm talking ETFs. I'm talking Roth IRAs. It works. If you don't do it, it still works. It just didn't work for you yet. Grant Cardone doesn't tell you to buy real estate. Why? He doesn't do real estate. The real estate guy who's making $500,000, a year off real estate, besides from his 9-to-5 job, what do you think he's going to tell you to do? He's going to tell you to do real estate how he did real estate because it worked for him. So The thing is, like, flipping worked for you. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but you can be like me, somebody who doesn't flip. You can see a little thing on a Facebook page and then make $150.
Well, it doesn't even take a whole lot to know what things are worth. We have the global sales place in your hand.
Yes.
The iPhone. You go on eBay. You go on sold listings.
You don't even need a computer to do any of the stuff that you're doing. Now, you have one and you use it, but you don't even need it.
I don't use a computer at all for shipping labels.
Yeah, that's it.
Which, if you guys are scared to do eBay, shipping is the easiest thing.
I know.
Buy a $40 scale.
Yeah.
You don't even need it. I have a nice $40 one. I was using a $15 scale before, and you just weigh it. Show how much it weighs on eBay. They calculate all the prices. Buyer pays for shipping.
Yep.
That's that.
You don't even have... Once they scan the shipping label, doesn't it send the tracking to the buyer too?
Yeah.
So
you don't need to do anything. Once it's printed and taped on the box, bring it to the post office. Yeah. You made your money. And eBay takes care of the rest. It's simple.
And that's just one avenue of making us money on the side.
Yeah. Yeah.
That requires no upfront capital. Literally requires less. You can make, like you said, you can buy something for $15 if you know what you're looking for, and you can make 50 off of it or 100.
I've bought things like, say, before I brought up that robot. I knew that old tin robots from the 50s are worth a lot of money. Went to a garage sale, bought this robot for $5, sold it on eBay the next week. It was only, 1 week auction, sold for $580.
Wow.
And that's, $575 well, eBay takes 10%, so, shim off $60.
PayPal takes a little bit.
PayPal takes 2%. So at the end of the day, you're losing 12%, but you just got to factor that into your cost.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what, $510 profit just from going to a garage sale? That was the only weekend I stayed at Stockton. I went to a garage sale. Actually, that same weekend, Bob, the only weekend I stayed at Stockton, I was just going to garage sales all Saturday. I buy the robot, blah, blah, blah. I end up buying like a bunch of old license plates from this guy too. Like they're all sets from like the 30s and 40s, which people are allowed.
License plates.
And people are allowed to put them on their old cars if they're sets, and they could register their car to the old license plate. So I knew that in the past. So I knew that was desirable. I knew that only from talking to car people with old cars. So networking, again, you learn from other people. And so there was like 15 sets, paid $170 for all these license plates. There's like, I think 50 total. There's a bunch of singles in there too. Each set was selling for over $50 on eBay. There were some that sold for $80. I think I made $600 on these license plates, and they were selling every week. There was another one that sold. That same weekend, I went to there's like a barn sale right outside of Atlantic City, and there was a slot machine from the 1930s. It's like 1936, I think. And, I knew that these things were worth money from just watching, Pawn Stars or American Pickers or anything. Or
watching TV.
Even watching TV, just watching
Literally.
Good shows to watch.
Yep.
And
which are
so,
the best shows, by the way.
Yeah.
Pickers is great.
I don't like it anymore, but, it is what it is.
His brother came in. Yeah.
But I saw this slot machine all dusty in the corner of this barn. I knew that I thought it was probably worth, $800. This lady wanted $250. Someone bought it 5 minutes before, or said they were going to buy it, but said they could pick it up later. I was like, I'll give you $300 for that thing. I'll be back with cash in 10 minutes. Went to Wawa, came back, $300, loaded it in the car, brought it home, and then contacted a bunch of people online that fix slot machines. Because I looked on eBay and I saw this thing was worth $6,700 restored. So I'm like, oh my God, this might be worth getting restored. All the parts were there, all the internals and everything. I found the biggest slot machine guy in the United States, lived in Maryland, had 90% of the parts in existence because he bought out all the factories and everything. I'm like, all right, this guy's not going to, mess around. Like, he's going to get straight to the point. Go to his house.
In Maryland?
Yeah, drove down to Maryland with the slot machine.
Yep.
And he showed me all the slot machines he had. He probably had, oh my God. His basement, he lived in a mega mansion, and his whole entire basement was slot machines. Wow. He had slot machines. He had the first slot machine that was ever made in like 1880 or something. Could be wrong. But there's 4 in existence worth $750,000, and I played it.
Oh my God.
Dispensed cigarettes. So cool.
Wow.
So I was like playing games for a couple minutes down in the basement, and then he got to the point he was like, this thing will cost probably $300 to $3,500 to restore fully, get it showroom quality. Or no, what was it? It would have cost a lot more than that. I think he said it would have cost like $4,500 to restore or something. And then I still had to try and sell it at the end of the day. He was like, or I could give you $2,300 cash right now for the thing. And I'm like, that sounds pretty nice. At the end of the day, I still would have had to sell it. Then eBay would have taken their fees. Didn't want to deal with that.
The math.
Took the $2,300 right there. Then partied in DC the rest of the week or the weekend. And you're not going to be able to do that with any other job.
Another thing too is like you end up going to these places too, which is crazy.
I find the coolest. I meet the coolest people. I go to the coolest places. Like. Just meeting people, buying cool things, showing things off. Like, I don't know. It's
showing up, man, putting yourself out there, going to the garage sale, though, and getting
the garage sale
it.
grind is the way to go. I made more money selling stuff from garage sales than I ever have working construction.
Yeah.
Construction's just that little thing on the side where, I learned the things so I could one day flip
and
real
it's
estate.
Nice to get like
it's
a
the
consistent
knowledge.
money too. If you
yeah,
want.
yeah, definitely. Because some days eBay isn't great. Facebook Marketplace, another great place to sell stuff. You would know. Facebook.
I just made a nice flip.
Yep. Facebook Marketplace takes no percentage.
Yeah, straight up, dude.
But if eBay's too much for you guys, Facebook Marketplace is a great thing.
Yep.
And you work with local people, make it nice and easy. But I've made more money flipping stuff than I have in probably the 3 years working construction.
Mm-hmm.
And I, doesn't take a lot of time. I do eBay when I get home from work.
Yep.
Some days, 2-3 days a week, I'll do eBay.
Yep. How many items do you still have for sale like now on eBay? Not just on Marketplace, but on eBay, just on eBay.
Probably only like 15.
Yeah.
Because
I know you're dwindling down.
And I lowered the prices on everything because I did have to get rid of all my stuff before the big move. So, a lot of things sold. Things always will sell.
Yep.
And
At your height though, like what's the most amount of things that you had like listed?
Probably 85, 90.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff was on Facebook too.
Yeah.
So
but
Facebook sells a lot quicker than eBay.
Yeah, because it's the people are right. They can stalk you and know like your rating's good and stuff like that, and like all that, and like they can see you're a normal person. It's a local pickup. That's a different thing. But, like anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, or ask is, if you have that many things, like you're selling stuff almost every day, then right? Like one thing, like you'll sell two things on Wednesday.
Least, yeah.
A couple days will go by. Saturday you'll sell something like.
Yeah.
But there's almost always cash flow coming in. And like you're buying stuff too. Like don't get me wrong here, folks. You've spent a lot of money on buying, and you've bought like things that you never made money on.
Oh yeah, well
but that's the trade though.
Well, you got to see. Yeah, no, it's definitely
that's part of the game, dude.
But once you learn from those mistakes, you learn to never buy those things again.
We thought, as your friends, you were fucking crazy buying some of this shit that you bought for how much you bought it for. Like we were like, what are you doing?
What are some things that just come to your mind, like something crazy that
I don't know. I mean.
Because I've sold so many things, I forget some of the things I've even had.
For me, I don't know the market on doors. So
the antique doors.
But the doors, I thought they were cool, but I'm like, this is stupid. Like they're doors, they're so annoying to like move, and it just can't make sense. There's
25 doors in one lot for $150. Yeah, sold every door, or I have 7 doors left. I think sold them all between $50 and $100 a pop.
Oh, all the amps and the speakers. I'm an audio guy, so I go, all those amps and speakers are either blown or they're complete shit, and you're not going to get any money for them, and you just wasted all that.
Yeah, no, made thousands of dollars.
Yeah, literally made thousands of dollars. So like the shit that like. Man, and it's so funny to be on the sidelines and like try to look and be like, dude, that's not gonna make you any more. Like, oh, bro, you can never. Like,
when people say that, when people say that, I'm like, I'm gonna I'll show you, Bob. I'll show you. Yeah. Well, I don't like actually showing the money and being like bragging or anything like that. That's where
I think it's motivation. But I'd love to see
people like you. I'll tell you because you'll get a kick out of it and you'll think it's funny, but you don't want to be gloating you're making.
No, and like I was telling you before the podcast, like if I post anything about like the numbers or like what I make, and hey, I'm not a millionaire yet, like we're getting there, but like even if it's a little amount of money, even if it's $300 or $400 or something, just like as a little motivation of like, hey, you can do this, like. You making $2,000 in like basically a day off of a fucking pinball machine, like that's possible. It's not like some story that you just tell.
You literally just have to put yourself out there. Like
you have a lot of.
I've been to more I've been to so many garage sales where I haven't bought anything. There's been full Saturdays where I go to 7 things where I'll spend $60 and maybe make $100 profit.
Yeah.
But then there's weekends like that one weekend where I bought the robot license plates and slot machine in the same day. Spent under $500 and made over $3,000. And I was probably out there shopping for 3 hours, and then listing, add another 4 or 5 hours for all the license plates, the robot, shipping at the end of the day, and then driving down to Maryland. Say 12 hours invested to everything, and then making over $3,000.
Yeah.
And then if you're working your 9-to-5 job, making
people make
50,
that in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyone who, likes the idea of flipping, it's the way to go.
Yeah. And don't get discouraged if the things that you buy don't sell right away. It's
a
long-term
just
game.
Learn. You literally just have to learn from your experiences.
And it's a long-term game,
I've learned like I said earlier, starting with Legos at age 13. I've been doing this for 10 years.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have known what to buy now and where to really fine-tune what I buy and what sells, what doesn't sell, unless I did the 10 years, of buying and selling.
I've been doing YouTube for 10 years too, 12 years, right? I've been doing podcasts since middle school. I've been doing all this shit. Like, same thing. Like, literally, like, not in this capacity, and you not in that capacity, but you did it. Like, for me, like, I had a video that went, like, not viral, but got a couple 100,000 views. I made money off it. I was in 8th grade. I thought I was the man. But, like, if I would have never done that, I would have not known that this content thing is going to be, like, the next thing, and it's going to work out, and, you know, and I'm going to be able to make money off podcasts. Like, for you, like, you know, you did is the same thing, man. You're 13, you're like, wait, this is crazy. Like, you've probably felt so good about that sale.
Selling the BMX bike, making $120. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is sick. I was working for $10 an hour splitting wood. I was like, that's 12 hours of work I didn't do that I got paid for.
Things are worth what people are willing to pay.
That's it.
Nothing other than that.
Nope. And like I said before, if people made it, if it was manufactured one day, people still will probably buy it now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the only thing that not the only thing I've learned. That's a big thing that I've learned.
That's what happens with cars too. The thing is, with cars, you gotta kind of know what you're doing.
Yeah. Cars have been
cars are iffy. Like you've discovered that. Because the thing is, you can't with cars. Sometimes you can't look at what they're sold for. Like you go off that because there's a lot of variables.
Every car has a little different thing that's wrong with it.
That's the thing with cars. Like I've done well. I've made money on every car that I've sold, but like, I don't sell. It took me a long time to first of all have the skills to do it, and then to know how to say, and like just it's very complicated.
Well, you also got to have the right resources too, like
which I do. Yeah,
you do, and I did too. Like Mike Confalone, you know,
shout out to Mike.
He helped me out beyond. I wouldn't be able to do it without him. He was the one towing the vehicles for me, telling me if it's a good move or bad move. I've probably done 3 cars by myself and only made, you know, $600 or something in a day flipping them and but most of we've probably done like 12 in the past few years, or he's done a whole lot more than I have, but I've probably done 12, and without him like helping me, just showing me how to fix them and doing this, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't have been selling cars at all. So you got to have the right resources and
who you know, what you know,
who knows you. Yep,
that's it, baby.
Yep. But
damn, Miller, you know, I'm sad to see you go, man, but I know that it's you know, man, like I'm not thinking about myself, you know. I'm really just thinking about what you're doing and where, like, I want to see my friends go do what they want to do and go take that chance, because like I haven't even done that yet. So
you will in the next
in the
year
next
or so.
100% in the next couple years for sure. And I'm building it all up so I can do that. And so kind of like that's a testament to kind of having that vision in mind and that plan. But for you, man, like you're different than me. And
well, we're all different. We all have our specialties.
True, and you're just different, but you're just different in the respect that you would pick up things and just be able to go and do it, man. And I respect you for that, and I respect you for not a lot of people. Not a lot of times, fear takes over the excitement, and for you, I think the excitement, the lure, and also you're still realistic, and you still have jobs, and you're still going to be able to survive and do your thing and build your life down there too. And you didn't let the fear get to you, but that's not how you are, man. Like you know. Like we're saying, everybody's got their own thing, but you know, I appreciate you doing this, and I really enjoy us doing this on the last few days that you're here. I can't wait till I can come down there and interview you and interview Anthony.
We'll see the how it went.
Yeah, man.
We'll see if the risk is worth the reward.
So stay tuned for the follow-up podcast, and we'll see if Miller makes it down south. Miller moves.
So become a deadbeat, just drunk.
Yeah, right. Straight up under a bridge, like.
Yeah. Welcome to my crib,
hey,
Bob.
What's up, man? I'm
living by the river.
Still sanding this down. This is live edge. Oh man.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say?
I think they got the picture.
I think they got the picture too, man.
Yeah. If we didn't, though.
At Chris Miller Does Art.
Yep.
On Instagram.
They're trying to get more active on it, you know, going through a lot of stuff right now. So
true, but you got some cool content on there.
There's some cool content.
Some projects and
stuff.
Yeah.
There's definitely going to be more to come. Yeah, there's a cool one, you know, at Josh's house, you know.
Yeah, that one's dope. Yeah.
That'll be on the page soon.
Dope last project for you, man.
Dope last project.
But, I would just say follow Chris. Make sure to follow him in his journey. He's going down to Tennessee. He's going to make it for himself. So we're going to see, you know, we're going to, we can learn a lot from this kid. And I did just, you know, we've been friends for a while, man. And it all came, you know, from Beige to, to college, to us trying to live together and not happening, and then that's a whole story in itself. But I'm just saying we've been here, we've been there, man. And it's just like now boom, another step in the process, another era coming to an end, another era starting, man. So
yes, sir.
It's been dope this whole time, man. I just wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate it,
down
Bob.
there. It's gonna be you're gonna kill it, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Thank you.
I know it is, and I'm gonna come down and see what's up too.
Definitely will.
Miller,
Bob,
appreciate it, bud.
no problem, bud.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Bobcast. We really appreciate it. If you want to support the show, also show notes, other information on the show, it's sullybop.com, SULLYBOP.com. Streaming on all the platforms. If you're watching the video, we really appreciate it. But if you miss an episode, you can't watch the video. It's on all the audio platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and probably the ones that nobody uses too. And that's another episode of Bobcast. Thank you, Chris Miller, for joining me.
No problem, Bob.